The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus addressed this parable to those who were convinced of their own righteousness and despised everyone else. Two people went up to the temple area to pray. One was a Pharisee and the other was a tax collector. The Pharisee took up his position and spoke this prayer to himself. "Oh God, I thank you that I am not like the rest of humanity, greedy, dishonest, adulterous, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week, and I pay tithes on my whole income." But the tax collector stood off at a distance and would not even raise his eyes to heaven, but beat his breast and prayed, "Oh God, be merciful to me, a sinner." I tell you, the latter went home justified, not the former. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, and the one who humbles himself will be exalted. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
The American conductor Leonard Bernstein was once asked which instrument in the orchestra was the most difficult to play. The maestro gave a surprising answer. "Second fiddle," he said promptly. "I can get plenty of first violinists, but to find someone who can play second fiddle with enthusiasm, that's a problem. Yet, if there is no one to play second fiddle, there is no harmony. In our secular culture, no one wants to be second fiddle. No one remembers who came in second place in an academic contest or a sporting event. In today's gospel, some of us would not want to be the tax collector, the second fiddle to the Pharisee. Yet others of us would want the snob to be put down and the modest person to be praised. Yet if we were honest, we might find that there is a lot of first fiddle Pharisee in each of us. Let's see if the self-righteous, even prejudiced shoe fits when we modernize the Pharisee's prayer today in gospel, something like this. It's the St. Peter's visitor prayed to himself, "Oh God, I thank you that I am not like those deluded non-Catholics over there. I go faithfully to Mass every Sunday, receive communion, go to confession." But a non-Catholic woman at the back of the church was murmuring silent prayers to herself, asking God for mercy. According to today's gospel, who was justified? Does this shoe fit us? What distinguishes the Pharisee from the tax collector is pride, which is the root of all morally wrong acts. It precedes cheating, anger, grudges, adultery, and every other sin. Pride, the opposite of humility, is the primary immoral act that leads to all others. Humility is the primary virtue that leads back to God. Humility is simply the proper understanding of our own worth. It requires us not to overestimate our worth. To be pure, our humility should only come from God-centered desire to love rather than be loved. On the other hand, the true humility also requires us not to underestimate our worth, which is self-contempt. To feel self-contempt is to feel worthless, without hope, and only despair. That can lead to scrupulosity, which means that we don't trust in God's unconditional love for us. That in and of itself should be an incentive to be less scrupulous. We must strike a balance between the two extremes of overestimating and underestimating our worth. Yet it is through our imperfections that we grow spiritually. That is why on Easter Vigil liturgy we say, "O happy faults that brought Jesus to become one of us, to show us his unconditional love for us." Many of our immoral actions or omissions can be seen as happy faults if they help us to realize how weak we are, how much we depend on God's help and the help of other people. Recognizing our faults can lead us back to God, and because we are intrinsically made in God's image, we are called back to him to help serve others with our God-given gifts. Our morally wrong acts or our omissions are fundamentally failures in relationships with God, with others, and with ourselves. The question is, do we mentally condemn others because they belong to a different faith or denomination? Or do we believe that the Catholic Church teaches, and what it teaches, that they don't have to be Catholic to go to heaven?